At 5, school buses leaving children behind. It's been happening all over Omaha since OPS began classes last Wednesday. KMTV has just learned the bus company, Student Transportation of America, says it had 1 week to hire drivers for 50 new routes for 2016. Jake Wazakowski joins us now with this brand new information. Jake?
Yeah, Jenny, parents are now getting letters of new changes, but for some, the damage is already done. You, the taxpayers, deserved answers, and I get them from the COO of Student Transportation of America.
It's not just my son and my family being affected, it's multiple schools.
Andrew Martinez is frustrated. Upset his son in 5th grade at King Science Center didn't have a bus pick him up for school for 4 days. Today was the first time he got on a bus in the morning.
It gets hard. I'm just recovering off of back surgery. I actually go back to work tonight. I don't have the funds to keep driving back and forth and doing all this stuff, but I do it because they're my kids and I take care of them as well as I can.
OPS and Student Transportation of America are working to fix the problems. About 1,000 parents will get letters of changes in bus times and stops. KMTV has learned on August 10th, STA learned they would have to cover 471 bus routes compared to 419 from 2015 because of school construction, and since kids outside 1.5 miles of school now need to be bused. STA says August 15th they informed OPS they hired 40 drivers, but 60 didn't return, so they only had 404 total. Now, 38 routes will be consolidated with others, and OPS and Chief will pick up some routes until STA has enough drivers on staff. STA's COO wanted to apologize to parents for the inconvenience and thank them for their patience.
In terms of process, review, and possibly improvements, we're certainly going to work with OPS and ask them to work with us to identify, opportunities to avoid this in the future.
Martinez says he hopes everyone involved in the planning sees how much the problems can impact families.
It's extremely upsetting. I want the best for my kids, and I do the best I can.
STA says they currently have 40 drivers in training right now and have brought in instructors from the East Coast to help. Of those 40, they'll have 19 drivers get their CDL next week and can start picking up students after a mandatory 14-day waiting period.
We are tracking the training. When Omaha Public School students went back to school last week, many school buses were either extremely late or did not show up at all. The bus company, who OPS contracted with, Student Transportation of America, is actively trying to solve the problems. Only on 3, senior reporter Jake Wazakowski shows us what they're doing. Jake?
Well, Jenny, we've heard the problems, the frustration, and the heartbreak from parents and students, so we wanted to know what's being done about it. Tonight, we get an exclusive look.
We will not stop until we have enough applicants or enough drivers on each bus behind the wheel.
The driver shortage put parents and kids in a compromised situation for days. How do you get to school without a bus?
In April, we were given a fair warning that the number of routes would increase. We started training immediately. We've hired 40 drivers since April, but unfortunately we lost 60 drivers in that time as well. So we find ourselves in a driver shortage.
OPS created 50 more routes this year because of 4 schools under construction, and since the eligibility was extended to students outside of 1.5 miles from school. Since the start of school, 38 routes were consolidated, and Student Transportation of America currently has more than 50 people in different stages of getting their CDLs. They've flown in 6 trainers from across the country to help and ran more advertisements.
What we're hearing from a lot of the applicants is they want to be a part of the process. They want to be a part of the solution.
In fact, STA says about 15 people have applied after hearing of the situation.
So I feel like I'm a perfect driver and I'm a great help and I can be there anytime they need me to be there for the kids.
Felicia Cox is a driver in training.
Pump the brake, steer in the opposite direction.
She saw the plight and felt it was a perfect opportunity for her to start a new career and make sure kids
We're going to review all this.
get an education.
I actually did see that, and I made a joke previously to someone. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to be there to pick up your kids. And look at me now. I'm here really trying to be there to help you guys pick up your kids, because that is Who wants their kids left out there on the bus? You know, that's dangerous.
Now, most of those that were here today will then have to pass 5 DMV tests, and then after that, they'll have a 14-day waiting period before they can get their CDL and then get on a route. Now, currently, STA says that they have 404 drivers for 411 school bus routes, so still a few people are being picked up late as they have to double up on some of those. Reporting live from 54th and L Street, Jake Wazakowski, KMTV Action 3 News.
Tomorrow marks 2 weeks since the new school year began in Omaha, and so far it has been marred by busing headaches that just won't go away. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Griswold.
And I'm Craig DeGrelli. School buses that show up late to stops or not at all. Parents tell us it's a nightmare. One night after the school board addressed the matter, we went back to the streets to see if things are improving. Here's senior reporter Jake Wazakowski with what he uncovered.
Guys, it's been 10 days since school started and the bus debacle became known. We're learning more about what happened and what's being done, but still some say the bus continues to be late.
Why should she be denied her education?
3-year-old Lily is going to early development at Beals Elementary because she has septo-optic dysplasia, which causes her blindness. So Lily needs a ride on a special education bus that can handle a wheelchair to get her around.
Yep, hi.
Her mother, Emily Sutton, says at first no bus showed up. When she called, she was told the bus would pick her up 45 minutes late, making her late for school. So Emily takes her and her large chair.
I've been looking forward for her to going to school because I know she would get the help that she actually needs while I'm at work. And yeah, it's just been really stressful and it's just not fair. It really isn't. It's not fair at all.
At the OPS board meeting last night, the Director of Transportation and Student Transportation of America, the contracted bus company, explained how the driver shortage and increased routes have led to kids being picked up late or not at all.
I just want to take this opportunity to apologize to the moms and dads in the city of Omaha and the administration for the service disruptions that you've experienced during the first 8 days of the school year.
Both say they typically work on a short bus route schedule, and OPS says they gave STA the route plans on July 20th but didn't know of the driver shortage until 2 days before school. Since then, OPS used special education drivers to cover up to 59 routes on a single day, found other employees who were bus credentialed, consolidated routes, and contracted out. August 25th, only 2 special ed drivers had to cover runs.
As you can see, based off the initiatives that were put into effect, each day assisted coverage from OPS drivers has continued to decrease the number of runs. I hope that this week we will see the problems decrease dramatically.
OPS and STA say only 9 routes are now late of the 433. Sutton says she'd like to know when her daughter will get a ride on time every morning.
I can take her to school every morning until they get it figured out, but again, it's just kind of, what if I didn't have the car that I just got? I mean, she would have had to been late every day.
STA says they now have 61 people in the process of getting their CDL to start a bus route, but all will have to finish a 14-day waiting period. They hope to consolidate 6 more routes. It's still unclear when Emily and Lily will have anything change on their route. Reporting live in the News Center, Jake Wazakowski, KMTV Action 3 News.
As senior reporter Jake Wazakowski uncovered, one family is tired of all the waiting. Jake.
Well, guys, transportation representatives say that they've now got more bus drivers than actual routes, but some are still upset, and we get results.
Here we go.
It's another great day of school for 3-year-old Lily Sutton.
Hi.
The girl's in pre-kindergarten at Beals Elementary and takes the special bus because of her septo-optic dysplasia, so she's partially blind.
Say thank you, Pablo. Say bye, Pablo.
Her mother, Emily, says she's getting rides home from school every day, but Emily takes her every morning because there hasn't been a bus to get her there on time.
It's been pretty frustrating to the point where I was in tears, especially this morning. I was in tears just because I just don't know. We're already in the middle of September. I just don't understand how it's taken this long.
Monday night, the OPS transportation director and the busing company, STA, says there's now about 435 licensed drivers for about 433 routes, and they continue to recruit.
We don't want to rest on the fact that we're increasing our numbers more than we've ever had before.
Arms through.
Still, Emily and Lily are dealing with the hassle.
Every morning or the night before, Emily actually has to break down an OPS-issued wheelchair for Lily. Half goes in the trunk and somehow maneuvers the other half into the back seat. But hopefully a call this morning is going to change all that.
What did your school say you did today?
KMTV emailed OPS on behalf of Emily to report the continued problems, and today, results.
The guy who's the head of the whole entire transportation, and he said, that we apologize for everything that's been going on. I just spoke to my staff, and as of tomorrow morning, you will be, Lily will be assigned a permanent driver for both morning and afternoon. Keep walking.
Emily says she'll be very happy when Lily's picked up on time, but she won't get her hopes up completely until those doors close every day.
There was nothing they could really do about it. It was until you guys came to help me, because I finally got some help.
To be clear, OPS staff members drive the special education buses, not STA, but some of those staff members did have to cover routes. Now, by mid-October, STA expects to have 465 drivers. Reporting live, Jake Wazakowski, KMTV Action 3 News.
Students left waiting at the bus stop, some not picked up at all.
Tonight, parents will get a chance to voice their concerns at the school board meeting. Senior reporter Jake Wazakowski is live with more tonight. Jake.
Well, guys, again, in half an hour, the board will meet here. We've seen people starting to come in already. I'm starting to get some updated numbers on the totality of how many people were actually impacted by the whole busing issue. We're hearing 60% of students bused may have been impacted by either the delays or not being picked up at all. One parent who attended the last meeting says the problems are improving, but they aren't settled.
I'm just frustrated, and I need the problem fixed. This has gone on for far too long now.
Kelly Clark has a daughter and a son at different schools, impacted differently by the OPS bus driver shortage. And it's taking a toll.
The problem I'm having with my daughter is I've gotten 2 letters for her giving me 2 different bus numbers, and it's never either one of those bus numbers that shows up. But with my son, he gets to school okay, but it's never the correct bus number, but he's not getting home most days.
Tonight, the OPS board will again get an update from Student Transportation of America on what's being done to stop the issues. Since day one of school, children were picked up late or not picked up at all. Initially, there were 404 drivers for 476 routes. They've consolidated that number to 433, and STA says 61 people are in the process of getting their CDL, and 16 of them should finish behind the wheel by September 12th. Last Monday, STA told the board 9 routes were running late, and today they say drivers are doing only 4 go-back secondary routes. Clark says on the outside it may seem like things are starting to work correctly, but it's still a mess. She says even with the 2 letters, she walks her daughter down to the bus stop to make sure she's getting to school. Her son is told on the intercom at school if his bus isn't taking him home that day, which she says happened again this week.
Oh, I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised, and I'm very frustrated that this is their solution. I want somebody to do something. I just don't know what the answer is. That's not my job to know the answer. That's going to be when it's better, when it's completely fixed.
Again, the board meeting starts at 6:30 here at the TAC building tonight. We expect to hear from Student Transportation of America, and also, you can imagine, parents will be here as well to voice their concerns. We have a crew that's going to be here for the meeting. We'll bring you the latest coming up at 10 o'clock. Also, we will have a big story to continue this coverage coming up tomorrow. You won't want to miss that coming up tomorrow. Reporting live from 30th and Burt, Jake Wazakowski, KMTV Action 3 News.
A busing crisis. That's how one Omaha public school administrator described the ongoing problems the district has been having in the 3 weeks since school has been in session. The comment came in a series of emails related to the issues pertaining to Student Transportation of America obtained by KMTV through a Freedom of Information request.
Those emails show how widespread the problem has been for 3 weeks. What we uncovered in our ongoing investigation is alarming. Senior reporter Jake Wazakowski is live with this story you'll see only on 3 tonight. Jake.
Well, guys, I printed off the stack of emails. There's 25 pages just from a few principals to Travis Salas, who is the transportation director, over just a few days, and that had dozens of students who were left stranded at different schools. Now, parents say administrators should have been more prepared.
You know, to just leave parents high and dry the first day of school, I find unacceptable.
Jennifer Snow's son is a 7th grader at King Science who, like many, didn't have a ride to school. Snow called and found out there was no bus driver.
But if I wouldn't have called in to find out about the route, I don't know that we would have ever found out.
Even today, she says her son's bus never showed up to take him to class.
I'm frustrated as a parent and a working parent that, you know, we all pay tax dollars for this benefit, and the ball's been dropped in numerous places. I think somebody really needs to step up and take responsibility for it.
In an open records request sent to the Omaha Public School District, we've been able to uncover how many students and schools are impacted by the crisis. In a survey of 36 principals, 78% of them said a bus was more than 15 minutes late picking up kids after school. At least 118 buses were late in the morning and afternoon or didn't show up at all on the first day of school. An email sent by OPS Transportation Director Travis Salas 3 days after school started states almost 3,000 students were impacted by the driver shortfall. In total, 66 completed and individual open routes had no drivers, and 15 doubled routes scheduled to arrive to school late. That didn't include late runs for drivers unfamiliar with their routes or mechanical issues. OPS and Student Transportation of America say they've been working to fix the problems and inform parents. Snow says she's left wondering if someone will be there to pick up her son tomorrow.
OPS has been doing buses for years and years, and I don't understand why now it's so difficult.
Superintendent Mark Evans told the school board that they're getting help from similar-sized school districts in Texas, Colorado, and California to help figure out those problems. That was also reported by Miranda earlier. Now, this isn't the end. We'll continue to investigate these issues. I'm still hoping to sit down with Superintendent to ask him the specific questions that parents have wanted answered for the last 3 weeks. Reporting live, Jake Wazakowski, KMTV Action 3 News.
The Omaha Public School District's busing crisis is now more than 3 weeks old and counting. Tonight, we went straight to the top for some answers to the questions parents continue to ask. We asked the president of the Omaha School Board to address the busing issues we uncovered in a series of emails obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Griswold.
And I'm Craig DeGrelli. So why does Luann Gotting believe it has taken so long to fix the problem? And what about the busing debacle in the first place? Senior reporter Jake Wazakowski is here with more on his investigation, only on 3 tonight. Jake.
Well, guys, you'll remember I told you about that survey that they did with 36 principals and OPS. Well, 78% of them said that they had a bus that came late for the first day of school, but that's not the extent of the problem. The board president says is improving, but communication problems kept progress from moving quicker.
OPS and Student Transportation of America say the busing problems that plagued the first few weeks of school are shrinking, but we're gaining a better understanding of how far the issues go. Here's a map of 35 known schools that had late buses on their first day, but our investigation revealed a total of 56 schools were impacted. On Wednesday, STA and the Transportation Department said consolidating routes and helping with others has reduced the late buses to 4.
Much better. I mean, there's still some room for improvement, but it's significantly improved.
Board President Luann Gotting says parents weren't notified immediately that their children didn't have a bus driver because the district didn't know either. It wasn't until the weekend after school started that they identified 65 routes that weren't covered.
2020, looking back, it would be great if we could have identified which buses early on weren't going to be filled and contacted those families directly.
OPS staff members are covering 10 routes by driving school vans. We've uncovered emails stating OPS contacted 85 custodians at their schools to see if they could drive. 9 of them volunteered and make up some of the new drivers. Gotting says all of them have CDLs and are insured to drive.
In those cases where it's individuals who have never worked with students in a vehicle before, we were putting paras on with them so that the paras could be with the students, so that it didn't leave someone who isn't typically dealing with students.
On Wednesday, STA updated OPS on how many new drivers are in the pipeline to start soon. Gotting says it's not all STA's fault.
Well, I think we're accountable to figure out what we need to do to make it better in the future. I think that's one of the things you're seeing.
Superintendent Mark Evans has asked the Council of Great City Schools to audit their transportation policies. Experts will be coming in from Texas, California, and Colorado, likely at the end of the month. We've asked OPS how much it will cost. They say they will likely have a better estimate of that coming up next week. Reporting live, Jake Wazakowski, KMTV Action 3 News.